Welcome back, YouTube viewers, to the 2009 Cleveland Browns Bash. I'm your host, AJ, here with the Divisional Round Playoff picks for the season. And last week, I'll quickly go over the wild card round scores. I went 2-2. On Saturday, I went 2-0 as the Jets beat the Bengals 24-14, and the Cowboys beat the Eagles 34-14. But then on Sunday, I went 0-2. As we had what were, to me, a couple of surprises. The Ravens, definitely a surprise, destroyed the Patriots 33-14, and that was in New England to top it off. And then the Cardinals beat the Packers in what was an extremely exciting playoff game, 51-45 in overtime, the highest scoring playoff game in NFL history. So that, I believe, is a true stat. So that's some pretty neat games for the wild card weekend. The division champions in the NFC moved on, while the two wild card teams that did not win their divisions moved on in the AFC. And one thing I didn't mention last week that's kind of interesting to note is the Jets-Bengals game had two USC quarterbacks battling each other, so that's pretty neat. I should have mentioned that last week. It was just a note I wanted to throw in there. So I don't have a lot of time this week to go into a lot of depth with my picks, but getting into the divisional playoffs, on Saturday, we have the first game is the Saints hosting the Cardinals, and every game that the Cardinals have played in the last two seasons in the playoffs, I've picked against them. And last season, I picked against them all the way to the Super Bowl, and then I continued to pick against them, and I was right as the Steelers beat them in the Super Bowl. But they are undefeated in the NFC playoffs in the last two seasons with me picking against them, and I'm going to keep that up this week. I mean, the Saints are 6-2 at home, but the Cardinals are 6-2 on the road. But I just, there's all four teams that had byes last week have a lot of pressure on them, and the Saints probably have more than anybody to win their game, just because it's between them or the Colts, but just because of the record that they put up in the regular season. And I think that the Saints are going to come through and win their first playoff game against the Cardinals. I think it's going to be a good game, but I would not be surprised at all to see the Cardinals win. But I think that the Saints are going to pull it out. Then in the night game on Saturday, the Colts will play host to the Ravens. And this game, it made me think a little bit after the beating that the Ravens put on the Patriots last week. But I think I'm going to stick with the Colts and pick them to beat the Ravens and advance on to the AFC Championship game. And then on Sunday, the first game is the Cowboys to the Vikings, and that is my upset pick of the week. I am picking the Cowboys to beat the Vikings and advance to the NFC title game. And the final game of the divisional playoffs for this season will be the San Diego Chargers playing host to the New York Jets. And this game had me thinking a little bit, and the Chargers are another team. They do have some pressure on them. Every home team really does. But I am going to pick the Chargers, and this was a tough one for me. All the games were tough to pick this week, but probably picking the Saints and picking the Chargers were the two toughest picks for me. So those are my four picks. Like I said, sorry I didn't have a whole lot of time to elaborate on them, but I am going with the Saints over the Cardinals, the Colts over the Ravens, the Cowboys over the Vikings, and the Chargers over the Jets. So once again, I went 2-2 last week. Last season I started 3-1, and then I went 3-1 the next week to get off to a really hot start at 6-2. So I'm going to have to go 4-0 over the next 2 days if I'm going to have the same start that I did a season ago, which I don't think will happen, but I got to be confident in my picks, so we will see what happens. I'm only picking one road team, but that doesn't mean all the home teams are going to win. I think there's going to be some good games this weekend. So thanks for watching my picks, and I'm your host AJ. This is the 2009 Cleveland Browns Bash Divisional Playoff Edition, and I will catch you guys next week with the results of the divisional round games and my picks for the AFC and NFC title games. Once again, thanks for watching.